Most people who feel broke aren't broke because they don't earn enough. They're broke because they never learned the one skill that turns any income, no matter how small, into actual wealth. And the worst part? Nobody ever taught you this. Not your parents, not your school, not your job. Today, that changes. By the end of this video, you're going to have a complete working budget, not a plan to make a budget, an actual budget, built around your real life and your real numbers. We're going to cover exactly why every budget you've tried before failed, the only budgeting system that works for people who hate budgeting, and the 5 numbers you need to know before you touch a single spreadsheet. This isn't theory, this is the exact process. Here's a number that should disturb you. Studies consistently show that nearly 8 in 10 people, including people earning 6 figures, live paycheck to paycheck. That's not a poverty statistic, that's a system failure. And the system that failed them is the exact same one that was supposed to teach them how to handle money. If you're watching this right now, there's a good chance you're one of those people. And if you are, that's not a character flaw, it's a knowledge gap. Let's close it. Before we build your budget, we need to kill the version of budgeting that's been living in your head, because that version is why you failed every time before. Here's the lie you've been told. Budgeting is about restriction, about saying no, about a spreadsheet that makes you feel guilty every time you buy coffee. That's not budgeting, that's punishment, and nobody sticks to punishment. Real budgeting is a decision-making system. It's you telling your money where to go before it disappears, instead of wondering where it went after. A budget is not a restriction. A budget is a plan. The second reason budgets fail is sneaky. Most people build a budget based on what they think they spend, not what they actually spend. They write food, $300. Reality is $600. Entertainment, $50. Reality with subscriptions and impulse buys, $280. The moment your budget disconnects from reality, it stops working. Not because you're weak, because you're working with wrong numbers. The third reason, the one nobody talks about, is complexity. Most budgeting systems have 15 categories, 40 line items, perfect daily discipline. That works for exactly the kind of person who doesn't need budgeting advice. The system I'm giving you today has 3 categories, just 3, and it works precisely because it's simple enough to actually stick to. But first, here's the part that stings a little. Don't click away, because without this part, none of the rest works. Research shows that most people underestimate their monthly spending by up to 40%. Not 5%, not 10%, 40%. If you think you spend $3,000 a month, you're probably spending closer to $4,200. That gap, that invisible $1,200, is exactly where financial stress lives. Let's fix that. Before you write a single number in a budget, you need to know 5 things. Most people skip this step. They just start typing numbers they hope are true. Then the budget breaks in week 2 when reality shows up uninvited. Number 1, your real take-home income, not your salary. What actually lands in your account after taxes. If your income varies, take your 3 lowest months from the past year and average them. Budget from your floor, not your ceiling. Number 2, your fixed, non-negotiable expenses. Rent or mortgage, car payment, insurance, minimum debt payments, subscriptions you cannot cancel right now. Write every single one down. Total it up. This is the number your income has to beat before any budgeting even starts. Number 3, your actual food spend. Not what you budget for food, what you actually spent on food last month. Groceries and restaurants and coffee and delivery apps and gas station snacks. Go into your bank app right now and add it up. Most people are genuinely shocked by this number. Number 4, your irregular expenses, the ones that break budgets more than anything else because people forget to plan for them. Car repairs, annual subscriptions, medical bills, Christmas, birthdays. Write every one down for the next 12 months. Add them up. Divide by 12. That monthly number needs a home in your budget. Number 5, the gap. Take your take-home income, subtract your fixed expenses, your real food spend, and your irregular expense monthly amount. What's left is your working number. Everything else comes from here. If that number is negative, don't panic. That's valuable information. It means you now know exactly why the month always feels tight. Get those 5 numbers before we move to the next step, because the budget system I'm about to show you is built entirely around them. Here's something that most personal finance advice gets badly wrong. It treats budgeting like it's a math problem. Run the numbers, follow the formula, done. But budgeting is actually a psychology problem. The math is easy, the behavior is hard. And the system I'm about to show you was specifically designed around how human brains actually work, not how financial textbooks wish they worked. Let's build your budget. The system is called the 50-30-20 rule. 50% of your take-home goes to needs: housing, utilities, groceries, transport, minimum debt payments. 30% goes to wants: restaurants, subscriptions, hobbies, travel, entertainment. 20% goes to your future: savings, extra debt payments, investments, emergency fund. Here's where most people go wrong. They start categorizing everything obsessively. Is a gym membership a need or a want? They debate until they never implement. Stop. Ask one question about every expense. Is this money gone after I spend it, or is it building something? Gone equals the 50 and 30 columns. Building equals the 20 column. Now here's the adjustment that makes this actually work for people who failed before. Don't try to implement all 3 buckets perfectly from day one. In your first month, just focus on the 20%, your future bucket. If your take home is $4,000 a month, that's $800 going to savings and debt payoff every single month, automatically, without willpower, because you automate it out of your account on payday before you have a chance to spend it. What's left, the other 80%, you spend guilt-free on whatever you want, no tracking required. Your only job is to not overdraft. That's it. That's the beginner version. But what if your fixed expenses eat more than 50%? What if 20% feels completely impossible right now? That's the question I get most often, and it's the most important thing we need to address, coming up in just a moment. First, one thing I need you to hear that most budgeting videos are too polite to say. Studies show the average person pays for between 12 and 18 recurring subscriptions. Most people can only name about 8 of them when asked. That invisible gap, the subscriptions you forgot, is silently draining $50 to $200 from your account every single month. Before you build any budget, go through your last 2 bank statements and highlight every single recurring charge. Cancel everything you haven't used in the last 30 days. This one step alone could free up $50, $100, sometimes $150 a month instantly. That money has a better job to do. Some of you ran those 5 numbers and the math doesn't work. Your fixed expenses are 70% of your take home. There's nothing left for the 20% bucket. A budget that shows you a problem is doing its job. You cannot fix what you cannot see. If your numbers don't work, you have exactly 3 levers to pull. The order you pull them in matters. Lever 1. Cut fixed costs. The hardest cuts, but permanent. Can you refinance a loan? Negotiate a lower rate on any bill? Move somewhere cheaper when your lease ends? Downgrade a car payment? Even a $100 reduction in a fixed cost saves you $1,200 a year automatically, forever, without any willpower. Lever 2. Reduce variable spend. This is what most budgets attack first. It's actually the least powerful lever and the hardest to sustain because it requires daily willpower decisions. Cut to reasonable, not to zero. A budget you can live with beats a perfect budget you abandon in week 3. Lever 3. Increase income. Most budgets ignore this entirely. A side income of even $200 to $300 extra per month changes the math dramatically. That's $2,400 to $3,600 a year. Invested consistently over 10 years at average market returns, that becomes something genuinely significant. We're not talking about a second job. 1 or 2 small adjustments that start putting more money into your equation. Pull all 3 levers. Even slightly. Not 1, not 2, all 3. Now here's where this gets really interesting, because we've been talking about numbers. Neuroscience tells us something that budgets completely ignore. Your brain has 2 competing systems. One plans for the future, One wants rewards right now. And in the moment of every financial decision, at a checkout, browsing an app at midnight, deciding whether to transfer to savings, the reward system almost always wins. This isn't weakness. This is how human brains evolved. The solution is not more willpower. The solution is to design a system that removes the decision entirely. The single most powerful thing you can do for your financial life is not a spreadsheet. It's not a budgeting app. It's not discipline. It's automation. 3 steps. Set it up once, let it run. Step 1. Open a second bank account. A separate savings account, ideally at a different bank than your main account, so the money is slightly out of sight and slightly out of reach. This is your future account. Step 2. Set up an automatic transfer for payday. The moment your income hits your account, a preset transfer moves your 20%, or whatever your starting number is, even just 5% right now, directly to that future account. You never see it in your spending account. You never have to make a decision about it. It just goes. Step 3. Live on what's left. No tracking every coffee. No guilt over dinner out. No elaborate spreadsheet. Spend what's in the spending account and leave the future account alone. Now here's the pushback I always get. What if I can't afford to save anything right now? Start with 1%. 1% of your income into savings automatically on payday. If you earn $3,000 a month, that's $30. $30. Less than $1 a day. That will not change your financial life immediately, but it will establish the habit in the system. And habits that start small grow. In 3 months, go to 2%, then 3%, then 5%, then 10%. You're not trying to win immediately. You're building a machine that runs forever. I've watched enough people try to change their finances to know exactly where this goes wrong. It goes wrong in the moment after the video ends, when the motivation is still fresh but hasn't converted into action yet, when real life comes back in and tomorrow becomes the plan. So here is your one action for today. Not 10, 1. Go into your bank account. Look at last month's total spending. Write down the number. Just the one number. No analysis, no categories, no spreadsheet. What did I spend last month? That's it. Because here's what that does. It converts you from someone thinking about budgeting into someone who's already started. Next time you do one more thing. In the time after that, one more. That is how financial lives actually change. Not through a perfect system launched with perfect discipline. Through one small action, repeated. You already know more than you did 18 minutes ago. That's real. That's yours. The only question left is what you do with it. If this video gave you something real, share it with someone who needs it.